Good morning, students. I hope you all are good. So, today we are going to discuss chapter number 7, that is lenses. So, in this chapter, today we will discuss lenses, types of lens, different terms related to lens, rules for drawing ray diagram from a lens, image formed by convex and concave lens, lens formula, sign convention, magnification by a lens, power of a lens, combination of lens. So these at least 7-8 topic we are going to discuss. So that's why the length of the video will be of more duration. It will take more duration because we have to cover a lot of topic today. Okay, so your first topic is lens. So first of all, what is lens? What is lens? So simply we can say lens is a transparent medium bonded by two surfaces. What is lens? So we can say a lens is a transparent medium bonded by two surfaces. What do you mean by two surfaces? Right? So two surfaces means, so like this is I am making a lens here. If you have started from here, so you have to finish here. And one more surface I am taking here, this one. So this is a lens. Here there is two surface. This is the first surface, or this is second surface, or this is first surface, this is second surface. No problem. You can take this is surface number 1, this is surface number 2, or this is surface number 1, this is surface number 2. You can take any. So what is lens? Lens is a transparent medium. It is made up of transparent medium. It means from this side to this side we can see easily. Okay. So actually this is convex lens. What is this? This is convex lens. Or it is also called converging lens. This is also called converging lens. So we can see in case of convex lens or converging lens, the middle part of the lens is bulges, or we can say in the mid part there is thicker as compared to edge. So if there is thicker in the mid part, that is called convex lens, and if there is thinner at the center as compared to its edges, and it's one more name, that is this is also called double convex lens. Double convex. So convex lens, double convex lens, or converging lens, these all are same. So I am making one more lens. So at in the lens with both surfaces spherical on the inside is called concave or double concave lens. This lens is thinner at the center as compared to its edges. So at the center this is thinner as compared to edges. So this is called concave lens. Its name is concave lens or divergent lens. Okay, so I will write here its name. So I have written here, this is concave lens or divergent lens or biconcave lens. These all three are same. Okay, so you have to study these two lenses in this chapter in detail. Okay, so whenever numericals will come, most probably that will based on convex lens. Okay, so there are some different terms related to lenses. Okay, so your first term is center of curvature. Okay, so center of curvature is represented by capital C. Radius of curvature is represented by capital R. Principal axis. Then optical center is capital O. Principal focus is capital F, and focal length is small f. Remember, this is capital F, this is small letter f. Okay, so first of all, what is center of curvature, or where is the center of curvature in the lens? So here, okay, before center of curvature, if I ask how many times refraction will take place if a rays enter inside the lens, so always remember, a ray of light gets refracted twice while passing through a lens. Always remember, a ray of light gets refracted twice while passing through the lens. Once while entering the lens, and second is at the second time from emerging from the lens. Okay, the direction of the rays changes because of this refraction. We know in the previous chapter we have studied that when a light ray goes from one medium to another medium, the direction of light changes. This phenomenon is called refraction of light. Okay, so how many refraction will take place through a convex lens or lens? So two times. First time when rays is entering inside the lens, and second times from emerging from the lens. Okay, so first your first term is center of curvature. So where is the center of curvature? So you can see here. Okay, I will make some larger diagram. Okay, this is convex lens. Why this is convex lens? Because at the center there is thicker as compared to edge. So this is convex lens. So if I give two lens, suppose I have given you two lens, one is convex lens and second one is concave lens, right? And if I ask to identify which one is convex lens and which one is concave lens, in that case what you will do, you have to touch at the center of the lens. If you realize there is thicker at the center, that will be convex lens, and if there is thinner at the center as compared to edges, then you will say this is concave lens. In the laboratory, convex and concave lens is available, so I will show you. Center of curvature. So this is curvature, this is called curvature, this is also called curvature. So if you make a sphere, suppose this is a sphere, I am making here a sphere, right? So center of curvature, this curvature, if you consider this curvature, its center somewhere will be here, right here. So this is surface number 1, and I am considering this is surface number 2, right? So if you consider this curvature, so its center will be somewhere here. So this is, say, C1, center of curvature C1. And if you consider this curvature, and if you make a sphere, then its center will be here, will be center of this curvature, second curvature, no, somewhere in this straight line, maybe here. Don't take here and here, always take in this line. Suppose this is center of curvature, this will be C2, right? This will be C2, center of curvature C2. And always remember, C1 is you have to write C1, for C1 you have to write 2F1, and this is important. C1 you have to write 2F1. The reason you will automatically you will understand after some time. This is C2, you will write 2F2. Okay. So this is center of curvature C1 for this surface 1, and this is C2 for center of for curvature C2, right? Then radius of curvature. So this will be radius of curvature. If you take distance, radius of curvature means what? Distance from curvature and center. So this will be from, if you consider surface number 1, so this will be radius of curvature. And if you consider surface number 2, so this distance from here, surface 2 to C2 will be your radius of curvature. Understood? Now principal axis. So principal axis is the imaginary line which passes through both center of curvature. Principal axis is what? It is the imaginary line which will pass from both center of curvature, that will pass from C1 and C2. So it is the imaginary line. So I will take a scale and I will draw here. Say this is principal axis. Okay, this is imaginary line which passes through center of curvature C1 and C2. This is principal axis. Okay. Now optical center is inside the lens, or we can say the point inside a lens on the principal axis. The point inside the lens on the principal axis. So you have to take point here, don't take here and here, exactly midpoint of the lens here. this is called optical center, and this is represented by capital O. So for dotted line, for the understanding purpose, you have to draw like this, and here actually here will be optical. Students, just consider that this length and this length both are same, but here it is looking, it is larger than, it is smaller than. But if you make perfect length, then this length and this length should be, it seems that it should be equal. This is optical center, this is optical center O, capital O, right? Now principal focus. Okay. So principal focus, what is principal focus? The ray which is parallel to this is principal axis. The ray which is parallel to principal axis after refraction, not reflection, after refraction, they meet at a point on principal axis. So that particular point where refracted ray meet at the principal axis is called principal focus, right? For convex lens. Okay. So suppose I am taking a parallel rays. This is parallel to principal axis. So you have to take the rays till here, reference line. Okay, you have to show till here. In the higher standard, actually there is some I can say there is some mechanism to draw the ray diagram. So but for standard 10 you have to just take the incident ray till here, till reference line. Okay, and after that you have to show the refraction. So students, one trick I will make you. So this ray is parallel to the principal axis. So after refraction, where it will go, whether this side or this side. So always remember, see, at always it goes on the towards thicker side. So at the center, this is the thicker as compared to here. So this will move bends towards thicker side. This is the trick. Okay. So you have to bend like this. Don't take like this. So always after refraction it goes towards thicker side. This is the trick. Don't write in the exam. This is for remember purpose only. Okay. So after the rays which is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction they meet at principal axis. So of course you have to take just half of the optical center and center of curvature. So you have to bend the rays till here. You have to refraction. The refracted ray will pass from here. Always take half distance between from O and C2 or 2F2. Okay, so this is called principal focus and it is represented by capital F. F2, sorry, this is F2 because there will be two focus. So since this side we have taken two in two form, so you will write here F2. Okay, and this distance F2 and 2F2 both are equal, and OF2 both are equal. Okay, so you show the direction here. You show the direction on the incident ray and refracted ray. Okay, and you may ask, sir, why you have taken from this direction? You can take in this direction also. You are correct, but be prefer from be show incident ray from left side to right side. Okay, you can take also this side also, but be prefer this one. Next topic is focal length. And students, one more thing here, in between 2F2 and O, exactly midpoint, say here. So this will be F1 because you have taken F1 in F1 form. So this is right here F1. Okay. So this distance and this distance both will be equal. Okay. So you practice this one and you must know different terms. Where is center of curvature C1, where is curvature C2, where is F1, where is 2F1, where is F2, where is 2F2, where is optical center. You practice at least 4 and 5 times, because on the basis of this different terms you will be able to make ray diagram. Okay, so that's why I am telling you, at least you practice these all different terms. Okay, next one is focal length. The distance between optical center and F2, or we can say distance between optical center and principal or F2 is called focal length. And if you take this one, distance between F1 and O, optical center, is known as focal length. That is represented by small f. Okay. So for the definition, you will write what is principal focus. So you will write the distance between optical center and principal focus. Take one principal focus of a lens is called focal length. Okay. Always remember, you can take many rays. If that ray is parallel to principal axis, this is take till here. After refraction, they will pass from the F2 or principal focus. Direction is important. Okay. This distance and distance from F principal focus, this is small f, that is focal length. Okay, this is for convex lens. But if I ask, show the focal length in case of concave lens, in case of concave lens, how you will show focal length? So I will tell you here. So here I will make concave lens. Make a reference line. From dotted line, okay? From dotted line. Suppose this is surface number 1. Surface number 1 this is surface number 2. So this side, so you can make optical center. So here will be optical center O, O in front of optical center, if you make sphere, so it may be like this. So here will be approximate, here will be, now I am using 2f1 in front of, in the place of c1, because this term is most usually we prefer 2f1. And this side, if you make a sphere using after taking surface number 2, so somewhere here will be center of curvature C2, so that will be in the straight line. So see I am taking here, this is C2, so but we prefer 2f2. Okay, and this will be your principal axis. This will pass from center of curvature C1 and C2, or 2f1 or and 2f2. So exactly O and 2f1 we will take midpoint. So this will be f1 optical center, and 2f2 exactly if we take midpoint, that is f2. Okay, so in case of concave, this is concave lens. If the ray is parallel to principal axis, so you have to take till here. Show the direction. I will take some bigger lens. Okay. Erase this one. So after refraction, after refraction, incident ray will go whether in this direction or this direction. So now the trick which is explained by me, that will help you. So this side is thicker, right? This side is thicker, so it will go in this direction. You have to take in this direction and take from here. Okay, and this will be the refracted ray, direction of refracted ray, right? And from dotted line, from here and from here, you have to use dotted line. Dotted lines means actually this ray is not coming in this direction. Okay, so this one, f1, distance between f1 and O, so this will be your principal, this will be your focal length, right? This will be the distance between optical center and f1. In case of concave lens, this will be the principal focus. This is not principal focus for concave lens, because this refracted ray is, seems that this refracted ray is coming from the f1. Okay, so in case of concave lens, this will be the principal focus, and the distance between f1 and O is known as focal length. Okay, so why this is called, earlier I have explained you, concave lens is also called divergent lens. The reason I will explain. The light rays parallel to the principal axis falling on a concave lens go away from one another. I mean to say, if we take one more rays, this is incident ray, and you have to make dotted line, and from here you have to draw the continuous line. You can see both rays is refracted rays going away to each other. If you take one more incident ray, you have to use dotted line, and this side you have to take continuous line. So you can see light rays parallel to the principal axis falling on a concave lens goes away. See, distance is increasing. Here is less distance, here is more distance. So they are going away from one another. After refraction, they are going away to each other. So that's why concave lens is also called divergent lens, right? But why this is called convergent lens or converging lens? The reason is light rays parallel to principal axis falling on a convex lens. Light rays parallel to the principal axis after falling on convex lens come together. See, if I take one more rays, is parallel to, you have to use scale, parallel to principal axis. After refraction, they meet at a point. They will pass from a refracted ray will pass from F2. So they meet. In case of convex lens, the rays which is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction they meet at a point. Or the rays which is parallel to principal axis after falling on convex lens, after refraction come together, get focused at a point on the principal axis. So this is called converging lens. Okay, so I have explained you the reason why convex lens is called converging lens and why convex lens is called converging lens and concave lens is called diverging lens. You can see rays diverges from a single point, but here all refracted rays are incident at a one point on the principal axis. So you can take rays from here also, no problem at all. The ray, this is parallel to principal axis, so this will go at thicker side. So this is the thicker and this is nearest to this rays, so this will go in this direction. You have to make here from dotted line. Okay, and this you have to take continuous line. So you can say this rays is also diverges from a single point. Okay, your next topic is rules for drawing ray diagram from lens. So there are 3 rules. First one is we will prefer convex lens. This is convex lens, right? I will make a reference line from dotted line. Always use dotted line. Somewhere here will be optical center, capital O, and this will be the you have to use scale. I have a practice, I have so much practice, so I am not using a scale, but now I will use a scale. See, this is principal axis. Somewhere here will be 2f1, and exactly midpoint between O and 2f1 here will be f1, and this is surface 2. Always take this as surface 2. So exactly if you make a sphere, so here will be 2f2, and exactly midpoint of O and 2f2 here will be f2, right? So I have labeling all the different terms. So rule number 1 is the rays which is parallel to the principal axis. The rays which is parallel to principal axis, take till here. Okay, actually in lower standard you have to take here, but there is some mechanism, there is the refraction take place, so that I am not making. Otherwise you have to draw here normal. So simply you have to take till here. The rays, rule number 1 is the rays which is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction they will pass from principal focus f2, or simply you can say they will pass from f2. This is continuous line, so you must show the direction. Direction shows that light is coming from this side, and after refract, this is incident ray, this is refracted ray, right? Rule number 2. This is important for the formation. This rule will be used if you make ray diagram. Rule number 2, again I will make here a lens, convex lens. This and this will be below. This point should be below of this point. Okay, I will take a reference line, dotted line here I will take. Somewhere here will be optical center. This is the principal axis. Somewhere here will be, this is 2f1, somewhere here f1, somewhere here may be 2f2, and this is f2. Rule number 2 is, if ray passes from f1 or f2, but we prefer from f1, the rays which is passing from f1, the rays which is passing from f1, we have to take till reference line here. Okay, show the direction. The ray which is passing from f1, after refraction, refracted ray will be parallel to the principal axis, right? So parallel to the principal axis, so this will be parallel to the principal axis. So the direction, this is rule number 2. And if you will take from this side, after refraction they will parallel to principal axis like this, but we prefer from f1. Rule number 3. I will make a smaller diagram. You have to understand only. Reference line I will take here. Sorry, this is not dotted line. You have to take dotted line. Okay. Here will be optical center somewhere. Optical center O. This will be the principal axis. Here will be maybe f1, 2f1, f2, 2f2, right? So rule number 3 is, the ray, if the incident ray is passing from optical center, when the incident ray passes through the optical center of the lens, it passes without change in its direction. Suppose any ray is passing from, you can take from here also, here also, here also, no problem at all. But if they are passing from optical center, the direction of the incident ray will not change. Or this is incident ray, this is the refracted ray. There is no any deviation in the incident ray. They will pass in a straight line. Okay. So this is rule number 3. So your next topic is formation of image by convex lens. This is important. There are total 6 different positions at which you can place the object. Okay. So for I will take 2 position and other position I will explain from your textbook. Okay. So first position that is given in your textbook on page number 83. Position of the object. Where object is placed. So object is placed beyond 2f1. This ray diagram I am making for convex lens. Okay. In case of concave lens, there is only 2 possible cases. But in case of convex lens, there are total 6 possible positions at which you can place the object. Okay. So I am taking position of the object beyond 2f1. It means where object is placed. So object is placed beyond 2f1. So I will make the ray diagram. So I will make a lens. This is the reference line. I have taken from dotted line. This is convex lens. Right. Somewhere here will be optical center. Okay. This I am making principal axis. Okay. So somewhere here will be, if you make a sphere, so here will be say f1, here will be 2f1, right? If you make a sphere, so here will be f2 and some here will be 2f2, right? So position of the object is beyond 2f1. Beyond 2f1. See, I am explaining what is the sixth possible position. One more thing, you have to always place the object at the principal axis. You have to place the object on the principal axis and left side of the lens. Left side of the lens on the principal axis. Okay. So sixth possible position is when object is at infinity. Infinity means they are very very far from the lens. Position number 1. Position number 2, we can say beyond 2f1, or we can simply say in between infinity and 2f1, or beyond 2f1. Both are same. If object is placed in between infinity and 2f1, or if you simply say beyond 2f1, it means somewhere here or here. So both will be same. Position number 2, in that case image will be formed. Position number 3, when object is placed at 2f1, some image will be formed. Position number 4, when object is placed in between 2f1 and f1, or in between f1 and 2f1, so object will be placed here, somewhere here. Position number 5 will be object is placed at f1. In that case image will be formed. And last case is when object is placed in between F1 and optical center O. So object will be here. So but I am making the ray diagram for when object position of the object is beyond 2F1. It means object is somewhere here beyond 2F1. You can take here, 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 no problem at all. But you must take beyond 2F1. Don't take here. Otherwise will be, in that case, image, the position of the image and the size of the image will be different. Okay. So beyond 2F1 you can take here also, here also. So I am taking here. Sorry, the height became more than the height of the lens. This indicates object is in this direction, right? For the formation of image, two rays is very important. Where two refracted, I said refracted rays meets, their image will be formed. Or where two refracted rays seems to be meeting, seems to be meet, where image will be formed. Okay, their image will be formed. So you have to take two rays, one from the top of the object here, and you have to take till reference line. This is direction. It means actually from the object many rays emits, but you have to take, for the image formation we have to two only. In this direction is rays emitting, this direction is emitting, but you have to take only two rays. First one is from the top of the object, and you have to take parallel to the principal axis. And we know that from rule number 1, if the ray is parallel to principal axis, after refraction they will pass from F2 . This is the direction. Okay. And second ray you have to take from top of the object and optical center. So you have to take from here and here. From I am using here rule number 3. If the incident ray is passing from the optical center, refracted ray will go in the straight line. There will be no any deviation. So you can see here. This is the incident ray and this will be the refracted ray. And see, I have told you where two refracted ray meets. So here two refracted rays meeting or intersecting. More appropriate word will be intersecting. Where two refracted ray intersects, their image will be formed. So here image will be formed. So this will be image. So here head will be in this direction. So this is actual. In actual two refracted rays intersecting. In actual, I said in actual two refracted ray is intersecting. So if there is in actual ray is intersecting, that image will be real image. What is real image? The image which can be obtained on the screen is called real image. In case of virtual image, we cannot obtain on the screen. I will show in the lab also. Real image, because virtual image it is not possible to obtain on the screen. So here in actual ray is intersecting, refracted ray is intersecting. So this image is the real image. But in case of virtual image, you have to show dotted line. If you show dotted line, you have to understand that that image is a virtual image, and that virtual image cannot be obtained on the screen. Okay. So if you give the name, you can give, this is A and this is B. So see, this is A. So corresponding, this is A is on the principal axis. So this will be you can say A1, top is here, so you can say B1. So you just compare one thing, height of the object, this is, if you see both these two, so this is the higher, this is the larger size as compared to image size. This is the object. So where is object is placed? So object is placed beyond 2f1, or we can say in between infinity and 2f1. In that case, where image will form? So image is forming in between f2 and 2f2. Where image is forming? So image is forming in between f2 and 2f2. It is in between f2 and 2f2, right? And size of the image. So size of the image, what will be the size of the image? Is smaller as compared to object. This is smaller in size. Suppose this is 5 centimeter, so this may be 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter. This is smaller in size, right? And nature of the image. What is nature of the image? So I have already told you, this is the real image and this is inverted image. Inverted means what? This is the head is upside, but here head is downside, below the principal axis. Here below above principal axis, head is here, but here below is the axis, head is here, this one. So this is inverted image. So I will write here position of the image, size of the image, and nature of the image. Three things I will write here. So I have written here position of the image in between f2 and 2f2. Size of the image is smaller as compared to object. Nature of the image real and inverted. So students, always remember, in case of convex lens, in 5 position, there are total 6 position, but in 5 position, nature of the image will be real and inverted. Always remember, in 5 position, nature of the image will be real and inverted. One last position, when object is placed at f1 and optical center O, in that case image will be formed virtual and erect. So that last position, 6th position, is very, very important. Always remember, in 6th position, that is when object will be placed at f1 and optical center O, in that case nature of the image will be virtual and erect. Okay, virtual and erect. So that case I am going to explain. Okay, so 6th position, I will give you one trick to remember where position, what will be the position of the image, size of the image, and nature of the image. One trick I am going to explain you. So remember, always you have to start from infinity. So first position is when object is at infinity, image will be formed at f2. Remember, image always will be form when object is at infinity, image will form f2, and you have to shift the image this side. Okay, so first position, when object is at infinity, image will form at f2. Position of the image will be at focus f2. Size of the image, point size, I mean point image. It means very, very small point size, and you have to increase the length. In the next position, you will shift the image, position of the image, and you have to increase the image of the size. Okay, you have to increase the size of the image. So in first position, object is at infinity, image will form f2. Second case, object is beyond f2, beyond 2f1, or in between infinity and 2f1. In that case, image will be form f2 and 2f2. That is, I made here a smaller size. In previous case, that was point size, but in this case, second case, image is smaller as compared to object, and again nature of the image real and inverted. In previous case also nature of the image real and inverted. Third case, object will be at 2f1. So where image will be formed? So you have to shift the image. So you will say when object is at 2f1, image will be formed at 2f2. In that case, you have to increase the size of the image. So in that case, when position of the object is at 2f1, in that case image will form at 2f2. Size of the image, same size. When object is here, suppose this is 4 centimeter. So image will be formed 4 centimeter at 2f2. Again nature of the image real and inverted. Fourth case, object, when object is placed at in between 2f1 and f1. In that case, again you have to shift the image. So you can say image will be formed beyond 2f2, and in that case magnified image will be formed. Magnified means larger than the object size. Okay, again nature of the image real and inverted. Fifth case, when object is at f1. So you will say when object is at f1. So you will say object image will, where image will be formed? Where image will be formed? At infinity. When object is here, in that case image will be formed at infinity. Again nature of the image, size of the image very large, and nature of the image again real and inverted. Last case is important, when object is in between f1 and o. In that case image will form at same side, on the same side of the lens, and very large, or you can say magnified image will form. Nature of the image, in that case nature of the image virtual and erect. So that ray diagram I am going to make here. Position of the object between f1 and o. So again I will make a lens. Then I will take a reference line from dotted line. Here will be principal axis. Here will be optical center, f1 to f1. This side here will be f2, here will be 2f2. Object is in between f1 and o, so you can take here. Right, and again this rays. So ray diagram, you have to need two refracted ray. First ray should be parallel to the principal axis, and we know that if the rays which is parallel to the principal axis, they will pass from f2. This is the refracted ray. Okay, and one ray must be passed from the optical center. This is incident ray, this is the refracted ray, right? So you can see distance is increasing. So this refracted ray will not cut this side, they will not cut. So what you have to do, you have to extend the incident ray towards the lens from dotted line. You have to use dotted line. Why we are using dotted line? Since in actual rays is not coming in this direction. Okay, that's why we have taken dotted line. And since dotted line is here, it means the image is going to form virtual image. You dotted line. Right? So you can see here image will be formed. If you say this is A, this is B, so this is here A1 and B1, you can see here arrow in this side. So see, when object is in between F1 and optical center, image will form same side, and this is magnified image. Magnified means larger than the object image. Nature of the image, since there I am using a dotted line, this is virtual and erect. This is erect image, right? So I have written here position of the image, same side of the lens, size of the image very large, or we can say magnified. Okay, nature of the image, I have starred here. Nature of the image virtual and erect. So with the help of, this is important, with the help of convex lens, we can make virtual image as well as real image. This is important point. With the help of only convex lens, we can get virtual image as well as real image. But in case of concave lens, if you make concave lens, so from concave lens we get only virtual image and erect image. But in case of convex lens, we can get virtual image, real image, inverted image as well as erect image. But in case of concave lens, we get only virtual and erect image, and always a smaller image. This point is very, very important. Your next topic is sign convention. Actually, we are going to study Cartesian sign convention. Okay. So optical center O is to taken be origin. Remember, optical center O is taken as origin, and principal axis is taken as frame of reference. So the sign convention are as follows. First point, the object is always placed on the left side of the lens. Object is always placed left side of the lens. Okay. We cannot place object right side according to sign convention, Cartesian sign convention. The object is always placed on the left side of the lens. All the distance parallel to the principal axis are measured from the optical center. All the distance are taken from will be measured from the optical center. Suppose here is an object beyond 2f1, or we can take say here is an object at 2f1. So we will measure the distance from optical center from this side. Okay, this side. Don't measure from this side. Always we will measure the distance from this side, from optical center. This is the important point. From optical center. You may ask, sir, we can measure distance from this side or this side. Distance will be same. You are correct. But according to sign convention, you have to take a distance from optical center. Right? The reason is in the sign. Okay, I will explain later. Second point, the distance measured to the right of the optical center. The distance measured from the this was the reason. When the distance measured to the right of the optical center are taken to be positive, while distance measured from to the left side of the are taken as negative. So this side will be positive and this side will be negative. So you remember this according to this one. This is, suppose this is x dash by dash. Here will be plus 1 plus 2. Here will be minus 1 minus 2. Upside plus 1 plus 2. Downside minus 1 minus 2. So this is the trick to remember. This side will be all the distance. Right side of the optical center be measured as a positive, and the distance from left side we will take negative. Third point, distance perpendicular to the principal axis and above it are taken to be positive. Distance perpendicular to the principal axis, on the principal axis, distance perpendicular to the principal axis and above, this side above is taken as positive. Okay. Fourth point, distance perpendicular to the principal axis and below it, this side is taken as negative. This side will be positive and this side perpendicular downward side to the principal axis are taken as negative. Last fifth point is important. Focal length for convex lens. Focal length of course, in case of convex lens, this side is the focal length from right side of the origin, so this will be taken as positive. And in case of concave lens, as if you remember, so this side is the focal length in case of concave lens. So of course this side will be negative and this side will be positive. So in case of convex, this point very very important. For convex lens, focal length is positive, and in case of concave lens, focal length will be negative. Okay. Your next topic is mirror formula. Sorry, not mirror formula, lens formula. So what is lens formula? Lens formula is, we can say, it is the relation among object distance from the lens and the image distance from the lens and focal length of the lens. Okay, understood? So what is u? U is the object distance. You add here object distance from the lens. In this diagram, this, if you say this is object distance, this will be your object distance and it will be represented as small u. Okay, small u. And since this is object is, we measure the object distance from the lens, so here u will be positive. And in this case, if object is at 2f1, image here will be formed, right? And same size. So if you take this distance, so this distance will be v. Sorry. Here object is left side of the optical center, so u will be negative. We will take minus in case of u. And here is the image. So v is the image distance, and since this image is forming right side of the mirror, right side of the lens, so this will be positive. Okay. So this is represented by small v. And focal length, in case of convex lens, this is convex lens, so this will be the focal length. So in case of convex lens, this side we always measure the distance from the optical center. This is the right side, so this will be the positive in case of convex lens. Okay. Your next concept is magnification. So what is magnification? This is represented by capital M. It is the ratio between height of the image, that is h2, to height of the object, that is h1. That is, we can say h2 upon h1. Say this is equation number 1. What is h2? H2 is the height of the image and h1 is the height of the object. Or simply we can say magnification is the ratio between distance of the image v to distance between object. We can say v upon u. This is the equation number 2. See this, there is no negative sign. In case of mirror, here will be negative sign, but in case of lens there is no negative sign, right? So always remember this. So from equation 1 and 2, what is the relation among h2, h1, v and u? So we can say m is equal to h2 upon h1 and m is also v upon u. So this all three will be equal v upon u. Okay, what is h2? h2 is the height of the image. Okay, I will show you from this diagram. If this is h1, height of the object, this is the h1, and this one, if image is forming here and they are inverted image, so this height, this size or height, this will be h2. This is the h2. Okay, and there will be no any units of magnification, because the reason is height of the image, height of the object. In the numerator and denominator, both unit will be same, they will cancel out. So that's why there is no any unit of magnification. Magnification will be only come as either only a number. One extra information I want to give you: if magnification is less than 1, it means the size of image is smaller as compared to object. What I am speaking, you may write in your notebook. If m is equal to 1, it means the size of the image is equal to size of the object. If m is greater than 1, if m is greater than, don't consider -1, minus or plus, you take only number. In that case, if m is greater than 1, it means image, the size of the image will be larger than or magnified as compared to object. If m is less than 1, the size of the image will be smaller size as compared to object. If m is equal to 1, then object size of the object and size of the image will be same. If m is equal to 1, greater than 1, in that case a magnified image will be formed. It means the size of the image will be larger than object size. Next topic is power of a lens. Power of the lens. So here I have taken two lenses. They are made up of same material, right? Same size. This is of length of 4 cm. Suppose this is also 4 cm. But what is the difference? Difference is this is thinner and this is thicker. This is thicker as compared to this lens. So what is power of the lens? And if you take this is parallel principal. This ray is parallel to the principal axis. This is say f2. This is 2f2. Here also we have taken f2. Here will be 2f2, right? So if incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction they will pass from the focus, right? Of course, this is right from the focus. But in case of, if the lens is thicker, in that case, this f2 will be here. They will pass from here. The reason is they have more converging power. That's why this ray is not passing from here. They will pass from here. But they will pass from the focus f2. In this case, since lens is thinner as compared to this one, so they have less converging capacity. They have more converging capacity in case of thicker lens. Okay. Similarly, we can take diverging capacity. So what is power of the lens? Power of the lens is the capacity of a lens to converge or diverge incident ray. To converge and diverge in case of concave lens. What is power of a lens? The capacity of a lens to converge or diverge incident ray is called its power, right? The power of a lens depends on its focal length. If focal length is small, it means they have high power. They have high power of lens. If focal length is larger, then in that case they have less power of a lens. And P of power of the lens is given by P is equal to 1 upon F. P is the power of the lens and F is the focal length. And focal length we always take in meter. This is important. What I said, focal length you have to take always in meter. If focal length is given in centimeter, you have to convert centimeter into meter. Otherwise, your answer will be wrong. And the SI unit of power is diopter. We prefer only write D, capital D. That is, we measure power of a lens in diopter. This is also important. Next topic is last topic, the combination of lenses. So if two lenses with focal length, say one lens have focal length f1 and second lens have focal length f2, kept in contact with each other, in that case effective power length is 1 upon f will be equal to 1 upon f1 plus 1 upon f2. This is important. If two lenses are in contact, in that case 1 upon f is equal to f1 is the focal length of lens 1 and f2 is the focal length of lens 2. In that case, effective focal length 1 upon f will be 1 upon f1 plus 1 upon f2. Okay. So in the next lecture, we will discuss human eye and working of its lenses, defects in eyes, and simple uses of convex lens, concave lens, and simple microscope and compound microscope. Then this chapter will be over. Okay. So one more lecture I will take. Thank you. Have a nice day.